Welcome to Collectivist, the global tech PR agency network for tech startups, scale-ups, and global brand giants. We are a network of PR, marketing, and communications agencies covering 6 continents and 40 countries across the US to the UK, EU, Eastern Europe, Middle East, Asia Pacific, and LATAM regions. And this is what you need to know. This is Future Gazing with Judith Middleton from Duo Marketing and Communication in Africa. My name is Gavin Loader, and this is Future Gazing with Judith Middleton from Duo in Africa. Judith, are you ready to gaze into the future?
I am indeed.
Are you sure? Because we've got 8 questions. You need to know the answers.
Yep.
Question 1. This year, 2026, what are our best PR managers or marketing managers? What will they do differently to last year?
My prediction is, and where I would invest my time and energy, is on training to be digital.
Okay.
So I think the metrics for PR from most CMOs, most CEOs, most investors in the tech space, in our industry particularly, they're looking for hard return on investment. They're looking for quantifiable, measurable, comparable data. So I think our greatest mission is to train traditional people into digital PR people,
Right.
and be able to report effectively, and be able to give that comparative data across the companies, not only to CMO, but also to CFO and CEO.
Do you think that's a problem on both sides? So, is it a problem for agencies to show how they're delivering quantifiable results as much as it is for people in-house that are asking agencies to deliver the work? Is that move to digital and move to more numbers-based results? Is that a problem for both sides?
I think it is moving fast. I think we're seeing fewer and fewer requests for proposals to report on AVE. Hallelujah. Right. And I think when we do, we're often quite hesitant because it means that opportunity is quite locked, and it often means that digital is elsewhere. There's not the integration that perhaps we would like to take ownership for. So yes, I think the needle is moving on both sides slowly, and I think the opportunity exists when a CMO does ask for an AVE based metric of reporting, is to actually help educate on how PR could be far more effective commercially if the reporting methodology is integrated into a more macro lens.
Right. Do you still see requests for measurement around AVE?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you? Wow.
Mostly from global, which is interesting. So locally, not so much anymore. But from global, very often. Yeah.
Mind blowing. Do you have one big, bold prediction for this year about the industry, or even about your own agency, I guess?
I think we will soon see ourselves as data analysts. And I think reporting will become our biggest differentiator in terms of impact and effectiveness. So I think that the leading agencies will predict and forecast and be able to make decisions on data and be able to advise strategically on data. And so that excites me because I think the days of published articles or publicity and hoping for some return on investment are long gone. I think the big budgets are coming in now to agencies that are able to quantifiably measure and report and track and give comparative data month by month. Our clients love comparative data. Being able to say, okay, hold on, this thought leadership article had this impact and this is why,
right,
versus a product article that perhaps would have gone into a paid platform where the likes of the AI engines now are seeing as far less credible. So it's lovely to be able to give that kind of data, that rich analytical insight to your customers, because then you just do more of what's working.
Yeah.
And I think digital allows us to be so iterative. And that's very exciting because you really should get to the goalposts.
How do you think, and I may already know the answer to this, but how do you think AI is going to have an influence on our campaigns that we're rolling out? And it sounds like I might be guessing, but it sounds like there could be an element of using AI for the measurement that you're talking about, particularly around predicting trends and the ways that we can respond to things. I'm sure AI must be able to help with that.
We use AI a lot in our agency for efficiency, but not
Okay.
as as a product. So never would we write an article or a
Right.
blog or even social media posts using AI. We do a lot of analysis using AI,
Right.
and
Right.
that's I think where it enriches the human capital, the human experience that exists in the agency. So I think where the lines get blurred is where PR practitioners use AI to cheat. And by that, I mean they're writing blogs or they're writing thought leadership using AI, which is contains industry information that already exists. It's not unique, it's not different. And certainly the journalists and editors in our industry are sniffing out AI
Yeah.
content very quickly.
Yeah.
And then also naming and shaming some of the brands. So AI is potentially dangerous if you're selling it as thought leadership.
Sure.
But if you're using it in our industry effectively for efficiency and data analysis, I think it's absolute gold.
I quite like the idea that we could use it to test and trial things before we roll them out. So perhaps we help a client with their messaging. We could test it on personas and we could use AI to help test whether those messages would work with those personas. So I quite like the idea that we can start to use it to predict and test before we actually roll things out. I think there's probably good value in that for everybody. As you mentioned, thought leadership, what are going to be the big trends and topics and issues that clients will be talking about in Africa?
Well, for us, unfortunately or fortunately, because it's a very rich and interesting conversation, is cybersecurity.
Okay.
It's a massive um, area of uh, insight and opportunity for our continent, particularly for South Africa, Southern Africa. We're seeing a lot of brands sort of weigh in on their messaging, their experience. And I must say, we've got some pretty smart cybersecurity sort of thought leaders in the space,
Right.
but more and more coming. So I find that particularly interesting. Understanding the use cases, cybersecurity is obviously a very sensitive space, so you don't always get the full lens on what's transpired in a breach or
Sure.
a hack or that kind of thing. But having worked through some cybersecurity breaches and some hacks in our local environment, it is a fascinating world. Absolutely fascinating world, and we've really got some world leaders in this space in Southern Africa. So cybersecurity definitely. I think the world of payments,
Okay.
fintech. Africa is booming when it comes to fintech and mobile money and how we pay and transfer uh, pockets of value.
Yeah.
So that for me is fascinating. Obviously, Africa is very mobile, as is Europe. But the fundamentals of the fintech world, the payments world, with all different currencies and crypto and
Yeah.
Bitcoin and these things becoming accessible now to the everyday user or buyer, I find that a very interesting space. And then I think the informal economy as a sort of conduit of the payments world, because that is incredibly exciting in Africa. I mean, people, without a mobile phone, without a credit card, we still have to transact. And a large portion of Africa still keeps going, irrespective of a mobile phone and a credit card.
Yeah. Tell me more about the informal economy. What do you mean by that?
The informal economy is obviously there's a lot of migration across borders. Not everybody has a banking card.
Right.
Much like the UK, you've got to have a physical address, that kind of thing. So that's often prohibitive.
Yeah.
Um, and so there's a whole economy that happens without the bank as such, as the, platform of transaction. And that's very exciting. That happens. The informal economy is probably as large as the formal economy.
Wow.
So, there's transactions happening everywhere, and looking at how tech companies are enabling smarter, effective tools to transact. They could be, a voucher. So, for example, I might want to pay my garden service company. They don't have a bank account. I
Okay.
don't have cash.
Right.
There are a myriad of different ways that I could transact with them electronically without their bank account. And that might be a voucher. It might be something that you claim at a retail store through a PIN code. There are a whole myriad of beautiful opportunities to pay someone without a bank card, without
Yeah.
a bank account.
That's interesting because I don't. As you were talking, I was trying to imagine that situation here, and I don't think we have that. I mean, I either pay people with bank transfer, credit card. I mean, if I'm honest, I cannot remember the last time I actually had cash in my. I can't remember the last time I saw cash, so I wouldn't even know if anyone took it anymore. So really, we are. I'm sure they do, but I just don't think about it. I think we're card or bank transfer. That is about it.
Yeah. And the third world economies, you see it again in the US, in South America, you'll see it in Argentina, you'll see it across various third party economies where you have to make a plan. People still need to get paid, right?
So tell me about conferences, events, trade shows, anything big happening in the region that marketing managers should be aware of? Where should they be attending?
The days of big conferencing in Africa, well, certainly in Southern Africa, are far less than they used to be
Is that right? Okay.
pre-COVID. I think a lot of the big US, UK firms come in and host these events, like the
Right.
Gartner Symposium and those kinds of things. The ticket prices are prohibitive, and so local people have said no,
Oh
no
wow,
thanks,
that's so
right?
interesting.
So there are a few, absolutely there are a few industry specific that work and that have become the sort of de facto networking, gathering, learning forums. But I would say in terms of budget line items, that is the very bottom of most of our clients' budgets.
Wow, that's so interesting. It's actually, I've had a few interviews over the last couple of weeks with the collectivist agencies, and actually, that's different to some of the other countries. Simon Verisel in China would say the total opposite in China. Actually, events are big business. There's a lot of money going into trade shows and events and people meeting each other. Actually, the jargon team in the UK have just been working and helping clients prepare for Mobile World Congress, which is in Barcelona, but they're taking clients there. So that's actually really interesting. Sounds like it's slightly different to some of the other parts of the world.
Yeah. I think our big tech clients will go to Mobile World Congress,
Right.
absolutely. And we have proposed that in many instances. Again, it's such a massive event that it's hard to quantify a return on investment from a spend that great.
Yeah.
So we often prefer to do digital campaigns, use that budget a little harder, a little smarter, and report on the metrics because it's very difficult to do. Even at Mobile World Congress, we did a QR code and did a campaign to CIOs prior and asked that they schedule meetings with CEOs and CTOs, and it was very successful. But it is overwhelming. As a customer going to Mobile World Congress, it is utterly overwhelming.
Yeah.
So you're not getting that thin focus. You're getting breadth, which is obviously very educational, very interesting, insightful. You get to see the new trends, the new gadgets, the new tools and tricks. But as a B2B tech enterprise customer, company trying to sell into Mobile World Congress, at Mobile World Congress, it's tough.
Tell me about a dream campaign. If you could win a type of client or a type of client, I mean, I'm guessing it's going to be a digital campaign based on the things you've said, but what would you love to work on this year?
We've actually recently run a dream campaign.
Interesting.
And it was a dream campaign because of the partnership methodology rather than the transactional approach that most people take when they hire a marketing or PR agency. So we met with the CEO. he wanted to offload a whole lot of product at a discounted price. He asked us to do it digitally, and he gave us an incentive. If we could sell 500, we would be paid X. If we could sell 1,000, we'd be paid Y. We completely outsold the campaign within about 5 days.
Oh,
it was a surprise to him, and it was a surprise to us. And I think why the campaign was a dream campaign was the buy-in from the leadership, the complete autonomy to manage the campaign ourselves, to message it really carefully, because it's a highly contested space, and in telecoms, and we know that industry really well.
Yeah.
So we were able to look at competitors, what they were doing, and then completely build a campaign differentiated and very time sensitive. And it was a beautiful, beautiful outcome.
What have we got left? Last question. When we get to the end of this year, December 2026, what will be the best thing that has happened to the agency?
That the UK and Europe and a bit of the US has realized the potential of offshoring to South Africa at a cost differential of 25 to 1, where there's no compromise on quality, and that our global studio becomes the best partner for very specialized quality-based thinkers, thinking agencies, where we can support teams, their internal teams, to transition from traditional PR people into digital, with us holding the hand and managing them through the process. That for me would bring me the greatest joy, to be able to support and serve global agencies and enrich and enable traditional people just to take ownership of their future, which is completely digital.
Right. Good. I look forward to a digital future, Judith. And we are done. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.